Okay, so here we are at experienced hunters and naive prey. Humans evolved in Africa. Hello, little bee. Expanded into the Fertile Crescent between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. This bee's going to be our company today. And from there into Europe and Asia. As their populations grew and competition for food increased, early humans migrated farther and farther from their origins. Those who eventually populated America had to fight their way across Asia and up through Russia and Siberia, enduring very harsh climates and sparse food supplies. These people did not farm, but certainly gathered roots, leaves, fruits, and other plants to supplement their diets. They did not domesticate animals, with the possible exception of the dog. Their primary source of sustenance was meat from animals which they hunted and killed. For more than 1 million years, on 3 different continents, these humans evolved and developed the physical and mental attributes necessary for locating, stalking, and killing large game. Most of the animals in the Americas, on the other hand, had evolved in the absence of humans. A few animals probably migrated across the Bering Land Bridge during previous ice ages, but most of those would have continued to evolve for thousands of years in the absence of the threat of human predators, and would have lost any instinctive fear of humans. Biologists have long known that fauna which evolves on islands in the absence of humans shows no fear of people when the two eventually come face to face. Muy interesante. Yeah? Darwin remarked on this phenomenon upon his arrival at Galapagos Islands. This fatal naivete was certainly characteristic of American game animals at the end of the last ice age. Some scientists argue that severe climate changes at the onset of the warm interglacial period caused the mass extinctions. In my opinion, the author, this assertion borders on the ridiculous if it's proposed as the sole cause of extinctions. Nevertheless, we can assume that rapid warming at the end of the last ice age certainly did affect the vegetation on which large herbivores subsisted, and this may have weakened populations of those species, making them more vulnerable to other stresses. We see a scenario emerging: bands of tough, agile hunters, experienced in the use of sharp, efficient weapons, arrived in North America about 11,000 years ago to find abundant, large, slow-moving game, which harbored no instinctive recognition of how the much smaller humans were, indeed, top predators. The resulting slaughter is easy to imagine. Richard Leakey in The Sixth Extinction quotes paleontologist Paul Martin from the University of Arizona, who calculates that within 350 years, the first Americans had migrated south to the Gulf of Mexico and had expanded to a population of about 600,000. In less than 1,000 years, they reached the tip of Tierra del Fuego and had a population in the millions. In 1,000 years. Yeah, we're like rabbits. By then, all the mastodons, mammoths, toxodons, giant sloths, giant bison, and saber-toothed cats, which had previously preyed on the large herbivores, were gone. The largest animals to remain were bison and several large members of the deer family, which seldom reach a metric ton in weight. These species were later arrivals in America, having evolved together with humans. This bee really likes me. In Asia before migrating to the Americas over the Bering Land Bridge during earlier ice ages. They may have retained a certain degree of instinctive wariness of human predators. Makes sense. Leaky refers to other mass extinctions at other times and places that also coincided with the arrival of humans. Australia was once home to numerous species of very large animals. Several species of kangaroos, for instance, which were the most agile and best able to escape bands of original hunters. So the kangaroos are the largest animals that are still surviving in Australia. This great extinction, which affected 85% of Australian large game, took place approximately 60,000 years ago. I think he likes my lip gloss. It's organic, it's chocolate. Oh. Sorry. Okay. The first humans arrived on New Zealand's shores a mere 1,000 years ago. Mammals were absent from the large island, but most of the niches they would normally fill had been occupied by flightless birds, many of which were quite large. In a couple hundred years, all were driven to extinction. In a couple hundred years. Wow. Africa, the home of the most of the world's truly large game, was also the birthplace of humans. There, our distant ancestors evolved with these beasts, allowing each to develop defenses against the other. For that reason, much large game survives in Africa to this day. Sadly, the advent of high-caliber weapons is challenging the survivability of many of these large animals. We'll do one more because the chapter after this is a really cool story. So we're going to be talking about Clovis people, and then next week I'll do the fictional story that the guy has written. This is pretty cool. It'll be your first one of those, and I know you'll like that. So Clovis people. It's based on fact, but he's made it up, obviously. Okay. Discovered at a site near the town of Clovis, New Mexico, the first physical evidence of human presence in North America consisted of finely crafted projectile points chipped away from glassy stone. Many sites dating between 9,500 and 8,000 years ago with similar points have been found together with bones of mammoths, mastodons, giant ground sloths, and horses in both North and South America. The North American locations tend to be older than the South American ones, indicating that the mass migration of humans moved north to south. To my knowledge, the author, not me, no sites have been dated in Central America, but numerous projectile points similar to Clovis points have been found in many different locations. Yeah, we have some. Including Turrialba and Arenal, which is very close to where I used to live, in Costa Rica. They have also been found at Lake La Yeguala in Panama, where the following scenes might have taken place about 10,000 years ago, in a climate still cool from receding glaciers. Where today there are tropical rainforests, the vegetation at that time would have more closely resembled a montane forest like those of Cerro de la Muerte, Chorripo, and Monteverde. Those are places here in Costa Rica. So, this story is going to be super cool, and look, here's an illustration. Ta-da! You're going to like this one. But I'm going to let you catch up on the last chapter because I see that you haven't watched that yet. And maybe we'll get to Skype this weekend. That would be so cool. Okay, I love you. I miss you. And here's a kiss. And mine. Thank you. Put it in my pocket. Save it for later.